Baphomet, Chapter 33 of the Book of Lies. A black two-headed eagle is God. Even a black triangle is he. In his claws he beareth a sword. Yea, a sharp sword is held therein. This eagle is burnt up in the great fire, yet not a feather is scorched. This eagle is swallowed up in the great sea, yet not a feather is wetted. So flieth he in the air, and lighteth upon the earth at his pleasure. So spake Jacobus Burgundius Malensis, the Grand Master of the Temple, and the God that is ass-headed, did he dare not speak? Well, here I am. I'm not feeling that much better today. And obviously I'm still out of my mind, or I wouldn't be wearing this shirt. But I do want to say a few words to my Mason friends and to anyone who is sort of interested in Masonry and why so many occultists and wild sort of progressive thinkers are Freemasons and publish in free Masonic journals and things like that. When most of us know, if we know anything about Freemasonry, it's that our grandpas or our fathers or our great-grandpas were Masons, and that it was sort of like a service club, and there's Masonic halls around, and sometimes they're in funny little parades and things like that. So we don't think of them too much as an occult organization and such. And it doesn't have to be either. Masonry is a huge, huge tent. Okay. But and obviously I've spent many years in overtly occult activities and organizations and things like that, and so when I joined the Masons when I was 50 years old, it wasn't because I was expecting to get great esoteric lectures and things like that, but I sort of knew what it was that I was getting, and I really wanted to experience that. And for so many years, it was in the 1920s was Masonry was super big in the United States. My father joined the Masons in 1948, just as the same time I was born, and he was a cool guy, sort of an agnostic geologist, scientisty kind of guy, and a very noble character, a very moral man, but he wasn't a religious man at all. He was just good for goodness sake, and I like that. And but as the years go by, like I say, I'm 76 years old right now, and I joined the Masons when I was 50. So I've been in the Masons that long, and it's been very rewarding because of all of my fellow Masons that I meet all around the world, who are also great alchemists and esotericists and things like that, and it's really rewarding. Now, just recently, I did like a 3-day workshop out in Joshua Tree, and I had the great privilege of of spending a great deal of time with fellow Masons from around the country, around the world, actually, and our discussions are so rewarding. I mean, they're purely Masonic discussions, but they're not discussions that you would take place in any kind of a lodge or at the stated meeting dinner or anything like that. And so I knew somewhere that I had sort of encapsulated the explanation for that, and I find of that sort of paradox. Okay. And I ran across it in my answer to a letter from a Mason, and I'm going to, because I really probably don't have too much time without breaking into coughs this morning, I'm going to share that with you today. Hi, Brother Baba Lon. Got a minute? A brother at lodge asked me why we don't study the more esoteric aspects of Masonry, like the Tree of Life. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check my my volume here because I forgot to. It looks like it's okay. A brother at lodge asked me why we don't study the more esoteric aspects of Masonry, like the Tree of Life. I told him that while Masonry is an initiatory rite in an oral tradition, like many traditions around the world, it was pretty much a civic thing. I told him of some of the appendant bodies that touch on Kabbalah and some other esoteric work, but mostly they run fish fries and walkathons. I intend to send him a copy of your excellent book, and I think he's talking about, well, they're all excellent. I think he's talking about The Key to Solomon's Key, The Secrets of Magic and Masonry. But I got to thinking about his question. It's certainly valid. I know a lot of people think we're sacrificing babies in there and that we try to disabuse them of their misconception. But some other people think we're revealing the lost gates of Atlantis and how to levitate rocks out of the quarry. But some people are expecting something out of Masonry it's not delivering. A kind of esoteric education. Perhaps not as thoroughly occult as what I assume one gets from like the OTO, but something besides civic obligation and architecture. Are these people shit out of luck, or is Masonry, A, not delivering, or B, holding back? Name withheld. Dear brother, name withheld. I guess we have to look at Masonry very broadly, like modern academia. Local Blue Lodges are like grammar schools, complete with PTA meetings, sports activities, bake sales, etc. There's teaching, yes, but only on the most basic and uninspired level. If there's any genius to be found, it is found bubbling away in a few extraordinary students and teachers who recognize each other, and interact in an almost secretive and extracurricular manner. Concordant bodies like the Scottish Rite, York Rite, etc., are more like high school and community colleges that are basically the same situation as the grammar schools, only occasionally there's a half-hearted effort to suggest there is something further to be discovered for the tenacious and hardworking student. But still, if there's any genius to be found, it is found bubbling away in a few extraordinary students and teachers who recognize each other and interact in an almost secretive and extracurricular manner. Masonic research societies and esoteric clubs are like the university experience of self-motivated students and teachers. But still, if there's any genius to be found, it is to be found bubbling away in a few extraordinary students and teachers who recognize each other and interact in an almost secretive and extracurricular manner. Masonic esoteric work is similar to postgraduate research, where the student breaks new ground in the field and, in the truest sense, becomes master of himself. I'm going to cough. And I hope I don't have to interrupt again. At this level, the only advantage to being part of an academic system come with the credentials, important now only for the advantages that accompany a degree or a title, and the association with others who understand and appreciate one's own mastery of the subject and ability to apply that mastery in a new, creative way. Here the work is done in the most secretive and patently extracurricular manner. At all levels, the work starts and ends with the individual Mason, not the lodge, not the Grand Lodge, concordant body, or research society. It may take a lifetime to realize how it all related to one's involvement in the craft. Fraternally, Babylon. Okay. Well, I made it through almost without a huge coughing fit. Believe it or not, I'm probably getting better. We are not having Monday night class tonight because I don't think I could properly talk for very long tonight. But hopefully next week we'll both be back in shape. Constance is better than I am this morning, but we're both very weak. Whatever this is, it knocked us for a loop. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my shirt. Until tomorrow for Parking Lot Tuesday, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.